G'day everyone, welcome back. So this time, as you can probably tell, I've brought myself an anchor winch. As it stands right now, Kiarra doesn't have a windlass of any sort, and I'm sick of pulling the anchor up. It's a pain in the butt doing it by hand. So went on Marketplace and I found this beauty. I paid 200 bucks for it. It does have an issue, which if you've watched the channel for any length of time, you know that's how I tend to like to buy my things. This one has a gearbox issue. Now the guy I brought it off didn't sort of elaborate at all. He said, I don't know. He brought it broken and never fixed it, so we're going to fix it. And it also come with a nice new 5/16 part. I don't know the exact name for that. It's in the book. It come with a manual too, so that's a bonus. So what we're going to do is we're going to strip it down, find out what the problem is, and fix it. And then hopefully by the end of this video, we're going to get it installed. I haven't brought any chain yet because anchor chain is expensive. I didn't realize that, but it is. So I'm going to go and buy some chain and we'll get it installed on the boat, and then I can stop having to lift the anchor up and down by hand. So, all right, without further ado, let's pull it apart. Alright, so what exactly are we working with? Well, it's a Mer Atlantic series. Now this is a VR because it doesn't have the rope roller on top. So it's a VR 1250 cub. Low profile, sits on the deck, all the gearbox and everything's underneath. I really like this style personally. I did look at a couple of the horizontal units. They just seem a bit bulkier and bigger, and I don't have a lot of forward deck space because of the way the cabin layout is, so I didn't really want to take up what little room I have with a big horizontal winch. That's all you see out of the top of the deck is just that system there. Chain comes in and around and through and down into the chain locker. I actually have a really good sized chain locker on Kiarra, and this will fit in its the location will work quite well. I don't believe there's any issue with any of that, so we're going to pull that out. We'll still strip it, inspect it, definitely re-grease it and clean it, and I do want to swap out to the 5/16 roller. I should look the name up. That one. This one that's in here, I believe is a 3/8, and it looks like it's got a fair bit of wear on it, so I don't need to run 3/8 chain. That's a big chain. 10mm chain's pretty big. I just think it's not really necessary for what I want to do. So 8mm chain is going to be more than enough. But let's put this to the side for the moment. And that, whatever you call it. Let's focus over here. Now the ad said, and the guy said that the motor did work, so we'll test that. But that the gearbox was the problem. Now this is pretty much how I picked it up. There's loose bolts on the plate. Let's have a bit of a look. Let's get the motor off here. Now, like I said, all this section hangs down under the deck. Okay. That front motor plate's got a lot of corrosion on it. This has had multiple coats of paint and things like that. So, yeah. But that front almost looks like it's been welded on there. That front motor, front forward bearing support. It really looks like it's been welded on there, which I wouldn't have said it should be. Anyway, we'll come back to that. He said the gearbox is the issue, so let's have a look at the gearbox. Now, I'm thinking this should be, or is, a worm and wheel drive. So you've got, they were already loose by the way, that's how it was. So you've got a worm gear that's in here, just like almost looks like a very coarse screw thread. And then you've got the wheel, which looks like a helical gear, in theory. I'll get off there. This should just come off with there'll be a bearing in this plate. This plate looks very unhappy. Like you'd say it's all corroded away. I don't know how old this unit is. I should see if they've got like dates on them or something in the manual. There we go. Alright, so goes to show how much of that's gone. So, you know, we got like, that's the thickness the plate should be, and then there's just nothing here. That bolt hole's broken through. So we might need to make a new plate, which is fine, we can do that. Alrighty, what can we see? What can we see off the bat? Well, that might present an issue. I think it's completely stripped. Yeah, okay, the gearbox though has just completely failed. Let's get you out of there. So what's going on is when I'm turning, fit in there, yep. So I'm turning that there and it's spinning, but if we bring it back, you watch sort of the keyway. So watch this section here, bring it back, and then there was right, oh, where was it? Oh, maybe it wasn't. Yeah, right there. Where it's not turning like it should. Then again, I could be wrong. Maybe it's just a really fine reduction. Just doesn't feel right. Alright. Now that should... what do we got? We can pull that front off. Depending on how the gear's made, it should come straight out of there. There'll just be bearing on the other side. There we go. There's the bearing off. Bearing feels alright. There's a lot of brass in here. A lot of brass in here. So that's all brass in the grease. Alright, we strip teeth, I reckon. I've got a brass gear. Got some of this grease out of here. I don't know what grease this is, but it's bloody nasty. It's like that really waxy sort of yucky grease. Oh yeah, she's stripped teeth. Okay, how do we get you out of there? Yeah, okay. There's teeth that just aren't making contact in there. Oh, there's no teeth left. That gearbox is shot. Let's. It should come out. No, it's not going to come out. We're going to undo those 4 Allen keys and we'll wind the worm gear out. And then we'll be able to pull the wheel out. Alright, so got the 4 screws out of there, just knocked it off the face. There is a seal in behind there, but I'm just going to try and get this bearing housing off the side. Let's see what we see under here. There we go, that's what we wanted. Huh. Well, that's going to present a problem, isn't it? So you got, oh gee, they're heavily worn too. Actually, they're more than heavily worn. They're completely stuffed. Christ, this thing must have done some revolutions in its life. So, I'm trying to just sort of clean it up a little bit. Anyway, so you got what's left of teeth, but it's not much. I think this thing might have been being used a little bit outside of its comfort zone. Because you've got, like, the teeth are so super thin, and then it's just gone and just wiped them out. So, that's stuffed. Oh, that bearing's stuffed too. I think she might have had a collapsed bearing or something like that, perhaps. Okay, so it's a 60-to-1 reduction. I'll tell you how I know that. It's written there. So, 60-to-1 worm and wheel, wonder if I can get that worm, get the wheel off there. I don't know if you can replace just the wheel, because the worm gear's not terrible. So that's the worm gear in there. It's like a big screw thread, and it doesn't look too bad. The bearings feel okay. That bearing doesn't feel very good. There's no way that was sealing either, and that's unhappy. Alright, I think I might do some looking and see if I can't get a whole new gearbox. And we'll see where we go from there. I might test the motor first, I think. Let's set up a battery and we'll test the motor. I'm pretty sure 12 volt. Let's see what's it got written on it. It doesn't say what it's got written on it. Well, I'm going to assume it's either 12 or 24. So let's do that next. Alright, so I think before we go too wild with gearbox, which I'll have a look and see. We might see if this motor works first. Now it turns fine. And I looked, and basically it just swaps. Oh, pardon me. It either punches positive to that one, so you've got a common negative, and it'll either put positive to that one to spin one way, or that one to spin the other way. So there'll be two separate windings in there. So, and it is 12 volt. And I have learned from the past to put these things in a vise. Decent sized DC motors, they got a lot of kick to them, so it's only sort of just sitting there, but alright. I'm probably going to get some sparkage too. It's going to be a bit of a current thing. Ready? Oh, that is a big one. Not a good start, is it? Oh, there we go. Holy dooly, that thing does some RPM. And it's spinning that way. So with that one, make sure it doesn't touch anything, it spins that way. Remember that? That way. What are we looking? Where we're looking counterclockwise. Does it spin the other way? So negative. Jesus. Clockwise. Is that right? Spinning clockwise and counterclockwise. Beautiful. Sounds alright. Bearings are a little... they need a look, but at least the motor works. So alright, that's good. Let's... what are we doing? Gearbox. let's have a look for a gearbox. One short drive to the bearing shop later. Never gonna believe it, but he had something on the shelf. So this is their their brand equivalent. What is it? Hydromech. Still, it's an Italian made box, so it's still a good quality bit of gear. Input shaft diameter is the same, output shaft is the same. That is a 60-to-1 reduction. So for every 60 revolutions of the input, you get 1 revolution of the output. This is a 68-to-1, so 68 revolutions input, 1 revolution output. It means the winch will turn slightly slower, but not enough that you're ever going to notice, really, in all honesty. Keyways are the same. This bolt pattern is the same, so it'll bolt to... let me just undo it and double check it, but it should bolt to the winch, to the mechanism the same. But we'll just double check it while we're here. There is one difference, and I'll point it in just a second. Come on. Get out of there. Righto, so that block there is the adapter block that bolts to the actual winch shaft. So it goes that way. Beautiful. And what ones are we going to go to? That one there. Huh. And the bolt holes line up perfectly. So it'll bolt to the winch. So it'll bolt to the winch block beautifully, no worries. Because that section there bolts onto there. So no issues with the output. The input's where the issue is. So there's a difference in input shaft flange bolt spacing. So what I'm going to have to do, the motor bolts to that, and then that used to bolt to there. It's not going to work. So I'm going to have to pull that off and then remake. This one won't work at all, so I've got to completely remake a flange face, or a mounting flange. Not really the end of the world. So this retails for well over $400, he said. But it was an order that they got in, sat on the shelf, the bloke never picked it up. So he gave it to me for $250. So far this whole winch I'm into for 450 bucks, which, yeah, I think is pretty good. You know, I'm pretty sure they retail for well over $1,000. So I think I'm still doing all right, and I got a brand spanking new box. So, all that talking out of the way, let's pull that flange off, see what we're working with, and get it made up and attached to the motor. Okay, pretty decent sized bearings in there, that's good. Feels in a lot better condition. We're gonna have to put a shaft, we have to put a seal area in it. Alright, let's see, it wasn't put in very square anyway. Alright, let's see what material we got to make a new flange for the motor. Alright, well, today's the day. So, if it looks like things have changed a bit, that's because the original, or the footage you just watched, was quite some time ago. I'm only just getting around to getting this on now. So, we had a lovely day on the boat. I've got a really good helper behind the camera. We're going to get the control box sorted. So, this didn't come with a control box. I'm not sure if I showed what we did, but anyway, there's a whole bunch of solenoids in there. We're going to get that mounted first. Then we're going to drill a hole through the deck and mount this bad boy. I actually want to, yeah, I'll unbolt it first, and I want to see if I can make this fit properly before I go putting a big hole in the deck, but that's where we're up to. And then I have procured myself a substantial amount of chain, so we'll load all that on. Haven't figured out how I'm going to get it from the car to the boat here yet, but that's, you know, that's future me's problem. We'll work on that as we go. You'll have to excuse the shadows. The sun's not going to cooperate and I can't do much about it. But that's our hole. It's slightly off center on the deck beam, if the shadows will show it. Go that way. Hey. And the whole reason for that is that where the chain runs in on the side, I want the chain to pass 180. Oh, that's shocking camera work. I want the chain to pass slightly to the side of this bollard because I'm not quite ready to move that. We will, but I'm not ready yet. I will eventually go to like a twin bridle setup and get rid of this. That way we can use the same bow spread and everything. But for now, we're just going to drill a hole, have it slightly off. It won't make any difference to the way the roller runs. So yeah, drilling holes in my boat. I'm just going straight inside the boat.
I see that going inside the boat.
It is. I have to keep clearing these teeth. Alrighty, quick update. There's a winch installed. So, yeah, down through the deck. That was an absolute pain in the buttocks. Anyway, it's there, we're all on. That's the new gearbox, obviously. Got the winch controller, so in there, well, the windlass controller if you want to be specific. So we got three sorry, camera's too big. Three 500 amp continuous duty solenoids and a receiver box. And so that one there is actually an isolator, so that's a winch isolator. And then the other two are in and out, they swap polarity of the winch. So yeah, it's all, that's a sealed box. Those suckers are not cheap. Anyway, thank you. Right, but yeah, we're all wired up. So they're the big heavy cables that come from down in the engine compartment. I'll give you a look up on top. You have to excuse the wind, but we're all together. So hats on. In up there. So the 3/8 chain, gypsy I think they've referred to. All in, we're good to go. What we're not good for is time. Oh God, and motivation. I ran out of both. Anyway, so unfortunately we're gonna have to end this episode here. I'm just out of time. I've got to get off the boat, got other things that we need to get done today. So what I will do is the next episode that comes up will be doing this, finishing this off. I do have to run, the wires don't make it all the way to the battery compartment, so I have to extend them. So I've got to extend the wires into the actual, down to the battery themselves, and then I've got to run a hot wire up, or a excite wire up for the isolator. So there's a bit more that's got to be done, but it is very close. And then I think I've got a plan for how I'm going to get 70 plus meters worth of 10mm chain into the boat, but we'll talk about that next time. So yeah, next episode will be a quick one, but this will be actually up and running, and I'll finally have a remote control windlass for the anchor winch. Alrighty, well, thank you very much for joining me. Sorry we didn't get to a fantastic conclusion, but anyway, can't always make it work, unfortunately. So alrighty, I'm going to pack everything up here, and yeah, till next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you on the next one.